Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode. You got the flag, right? You got it? You got it?
Keep going.
Welcome
Keep going.
to another episode of East Meets West, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, yes. So easy. So easy. Special edition. Yes, after the USA versus Germany game. Yes, we tapped that. We beat them down. You know what I mean? Like it was a rappy dap. But yeah, welcome to the show. Make sure you like and subscribe. Your boy Mike and Khan on the host. And I mean, we might as well get right into it, man. Like, I mean, before I even go do this whole breakdown, like I would say I was really impressed with the beginning of what I seen from Germany, but
Uh, they shot
then it
out,
fell
right? They
apart.
shot out to 15-6 run, or
Yeah.
they opened the game 15 to
And
6. Seems to be like a trend with both the men's and the women's team,
yeah.
right? Like they, you know, I wouldn't like whether it's a slow start by Team USA
Yeah.
or a hot start by the opponents. Either way, they're always trailing until the first time out.
Right.
So just
Yeah.
something to observe.
It's just I guess it's like we're not taking them serious. Bam. Oh yeah, okay, now we taking them serious. Then they put on their serious face, then they start like really getting to it. So
Hmm.
that's pretty much what happened with this game. Like we seen Satu kind of get out. We seen Leona Febic get out a little bit. You know what I mean? They were like pretty much the anchors to start the game. And I love Peterson, the point guard for Germany. Like, man,
Hmm.
it's a lot of WNBA teams that can use someone like her. Like her ability to use the screens, her ability to actually like break down the defense off the, I mean, on ball. So, or with the ball, like, man, like
Oh,
that, she would be valuable in the WNBA. I hope that some of those teams are looking at them. And the more I look back,
either
yeah,
craft a message with your thoughts that you just said right now,
yeah,
or forward this to Golden State Valkyries.
yeah,
Okay,
no, yeah,
so
seriously, like,
hey, right?
or one of the teams, yeah, because I mean, I don't know if I don't. I think it'll take until probably next Olympics before some of these teams actually start to look at the talent across the board. You know what I mean? And actually, I mean, then you gotta also have a situation where you're gonna be able to give them a contract that's worth more than what they can receive abroad. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean? So
That's
it's
true.
just like right now, Peterson will probably get what from a team because she is not like, she's just been stand out to the level of like an Enrique or a Jackie Young or something like that. But I think she could run a team. You know what I mean? I think she could be a really good part. Like right now, she could help the Fever. Since the Fever don't want to play Grace Berger, they could play Peterson. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
Peterson would actually come in and it won't be such a drastic fall off from Caitlin Clark. And it's so many other teams like before Jordan Canada came back to the Dream, like she could have went over there and really helped them kind of get some things going. And
Right.
who else am I thinking about? The LA Sparks, but not to get off topic. Just I don't know. I was impressed early with Germany, and I thought I was gonna get my little 1 point win at first, but yeah,
That was
no,
not going to
it,
happen.
it yeah, no. Didn't happen. I wanted maximum chaos and I didn't get it. Like, I was into the game. I was finding myself rooting for
Well,
Satu and like to the extent that it's like, oh, come on, Satu. Oh, Germany's missing shot. I'm like, oh, Germany. I'm like, damn, am I like converting? So I had to get back, and then Alyssa Thomas came in. She man, let me put this phone down. Alyssa Thomas. I don't know what stupidity came out of my mouth. I'm gonna admit to that I said about 2 episodes ago, where I was thinking just based on the way Japan was playing and the type of screens that they were using, that they can just make it where she has to get out there on the perimeter, but they were elusive. You know what I mean? Every team
hmm
doesn't have a gang of elusive players like that. So I was thinking that maybe that was some type of like a game plan that you can implement against her. And no, you can't do that. No, sorry. I thought some of the teams abroad might have had it. Maybe Japan can do it again, but everybody else can't. Like they
yeah,
just don't have it. Like if anything, Japan should pass out some of their perimeter players amongst all the rest of these teams, and they will be much better off. You know what I mean? Because what Germany was missing today was outside of Peterson, outside of Satu, they needed more like playmaking ability. Honestly, you know what I mean?
correct. Yeah,
And they
yeah.
just didn't have it. you know. So, and then once Alyssa and Fee start getting into Satu, it kind of threw everything off for them. Like it was nowhere
Hmm.
else to go. Peterson, like she showed out early. She had another good like run in her where she was pushing and looking good, but overall the physicality of Team USA, like I've been saying pretty much all of the pods, like a lot of teams, I think if they want to compete, they need to go the Japan route. Like they need to think about, instead of playing them physical, crowd them. Try to limit physicality because it's going to wear you down by the fourth quarter, and then everybody's going to be reeling, trying to take Hail Mary shots and do Hail Mary plays, and oh, I don't got nobody to pass to, so bump it. I'm gonna try to put up my best Nikola Jokic shot, thinking that it's Anthony Davis on the other end. It's not, and you know, it's just going to be basically, it's just going to get out of hand, and then you're going to lose. So basically, you have 3 quarters to show up, to where you, I guess, if you're close to the U.S. going into the fourth, you might get an adrenaline rush and be able to, you know, it can carry you, but you cannot play us physically. You can't, or you're going to lose. Like that's at almost every position because Jackie Young is strong. Lissa Thomas is strong. Fee is stronger. Aja, of course, Brianna, they're strong. Like the only players that you can probably knock around just for now and not even too much is like what, Sabrina maybe? You know what I
No,
mean? And not really. I mean, the only thing you can do is affect her offensively. If you could run her off the three and then front her on the drives, then you might have an opportunity to do something with her. Other than that, not even Sabrina. So good luck to the rest of the field. Like, wave the flag for me, man. Wave the flag, because it be rap.
yeah. I mean, it sounds like a kind of a very lame
Cliche.
analysis,
Yeah.
simply to say that yeah, you know, I mean, these the other nations they're literally overmatched
Yeah.
in every aspect. There are things that they can do to increase their chances of winning, but realistically, I mean, a lot of things would have to go wrong for the women's team, for Team USA
Yeah.
to lose. It's not
Yeah.
impossible. Sure, there's a non-0% chance, but I mean, you can say that about a lot of things.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think the thing that's worked best for teams is, again, it's not that the US are slow or unathletic, but I mean, using speed and shiftiness, you
Yeah.
know, not just like end to end speed. That is one way to try to attack the
Mm,
US. But I mean, again, it's hard to sustain that for all 4 quarters,
right.
you know?
Especially if you don't have an anchor in the paint.
Yeah. I mean, I do think Germany out of the gates, they did a good job of attacking what I believe are the US's weak points, you know, and
Right.
that's relatively speaking,
Right.
right? But I guess I'll just dive in to kind of like, you know, our thoughts.
No, that's fine. And then I'll go
Um
down the box later. Yeah.
their minutes today reflected it, relatively speaking,
Hmm.
you know, because I've been saying this over and over again, even going back to the exhibition games.
Yeah.
I don't think our starting lineup is our best lineup, you
No,
know.
it's not. Especially with
Um
DT in it. It's
I'm
like, no.
sorry. I like Chelsea Gray, but I don't think she is the best option. I
I
don't.
understand.
I understand. I think it's kind of like what the men's team. I'm not trying to throw shade at Jason Tatum, but
Yeah.
in my opinion, what Steve Kerr is doing, right, is, you know,
Keep him
if there
off.
is the best moment to have him, you know, like playing, it's probably to start games, right? Because you're going to want to close games with KD,
Right.
right? It's the same thing, I think, like with DT and Chelsea Gray,
Right.
right? But to me, I'm not going to say they're the reason that US falls behind, but it's becoming clear that whether it's their inability to play, like to continuously play up tempo,
Mhm.
but it's not necessarily just being able to go back and forth. It's their ability to create, right, up
Mhm.
tempo, that I think they're having a problem with, because it's night and day when Sabrina and Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum come in, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
just
it is.
their ability to like kind of pull the trigger and not just to shoot, right? But to make that extra pass or to make the pass and then the secondary pass. Their
Yeah.
decision making just seems a lot faster, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's enabling because, like I said, you're not Chelsea. Her stat lines may look good, and I'm not trying to say she's padding her stats.
Mhm.
It's just she has taken a lot more of like a methodical approach, you know.
Right.
But in doing so, right, like why is it that we end up becoming a little bit more too reliant on the outside game? It's because, right, we're not getting the ball to Asia or Stewie, quick enough,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
That wasn't a bad thing today,
yeah,
especially
you
with the
know.
players you named, and then Alyssa Thomas being in there. But let me not cut you off. Go, keep
Oh
going.
no, that's what I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not just decisive, right? Like I said, they're processing. Yeah, like you see it, right? Like even there's
Yeah.
a couple stretches with like Clea Copper and Jackie Young. They just
Hmm.
kind of knew, right? They kind of
Yeah.
understood like where everyone is on the court. As soon as the ball touches them, boom, right? Like they
Yeah.
already know where they're swinging the ball. It's things like that. And so yeah, I mean, Chelsea and DT only ended up playing like just a little over 6 minutes each,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it made sense.
Yeah.
It
It
made
did.
sense. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it goes back to what we're saying in these these tournament style plays. Everyone's eventually going to get their opportunity to shine.
Right.
Um, I don't know if a lot of people had a chance to watch the USA versus Germany preview episode that we did, but if you did, I think we kind of not necessarily predicted, but we felt like this could be a big Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum kind of game.
Hmm.
Just because again, right, quicker decision making on the perimeter, and well, sure enough, it was.
Yeah.
So, any further thoughts?
Um, I actually agree with that. Like, we don't necessarily need to, because a lot of teams they don't even have that ability to like probe us from the point guard position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, having a strong point guard is not just a WNBA issue. It seems like it's just abroad. You know what I mean? Like a lot of
Yeah.
teams, because I think the wave of basketball that's positionless has also came and afflicted the WNBA and just women's
Hmm.
basketball in general. And because it's pretty, it's pretty gaming. Like if you can have an Alyssa Thomas, if you can have like even Aja and Brianna to some extent, you know what I mean? See with the type of team that she has where they all move the ball and whatnot. Like the teams that have like a 3 or a 4 that actually could move it. And then you can kind of build orbit around them. Like I think that may be something that also, while it's a strength, it's also a weakness of a lot of teams, because when those things get cut off, you do need the second and third options for ball handling, for facilitating, for playmaking. You know what I mean? And that's what Germany's seen today. Like, okay, yeah, Satu has been arguably the one that they've been playing through. Peterson showed that she can be a playmaker for sure, but if you stop Satu's ability to play make, you put Alyssa Thomas in front of her and you force it to Peterson. When Peterson gives up the ball, who else is going to create?
Right.
And that's pretty much what happened to Germany today. It was like, up, ball's out of Peterson's hand. Put that wall up. Form a fucking wall.
Shout out
So
Stan Van Gundy.
shout out SVG, but like I mean that's just what it was, and Germany couldn't do anything beyond that point. So, but getting back to Team USA, I was happy to see Kalia Copper out there because I was worried about her. Good job,
Yeah.
Kalia. Man, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, like coming in, making those shots, especially like today was the day. I don't know what they all shot as a team collectively, but I'm sure it was better than what it's been. It wasn't like 4 of 20 or what was it the other day, 4 of 15, something like that. Like what was it
Yeah, well,
today?
I mean,
9 of
from three,
21.
from three, they were 9 of 21.
Yeah, 9 of
So
21. I mean, that's
42.9%,
42%, 43
35 of
basically.
72 from the field,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, they really had a humming,
yeah,
25 assists on 35 made field goals. So,
right, right.
some pretty good. And again, I think a lot of people think I'm an Aces fan. I really like their team. Their team is
I
awesome.
mean, it's a lot
The
of them here.
WNBA is not the NBA. You can keep that team together for a longer, a longer
Yeah,
span of time. But I mean, no. Again, I think this is what we were talking about, right? Like they each have like kind of their roles,
right.
on the aces, but you kind of forget at times like what each one is capable of.
Yeah.
And like for example, Kelsey Plum, I mean,
Yeah.
she's kind of become more of like an off guard these days. But I mean, people forget like just how very proficient she is at ball handling, playmaking, creating off the dribble.
Right.
Like she could do that, in long stretches. Not just like, oh, you're a secondary playmaker. So today, right, once Jackie Young like caught fire, boom, right?
Yeah.
Balls in her hands more. She's breaking down the defense off the dribble. So, yeah, I mean, it's Aces came to play today. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah. Yeah. They did. Like all of
yeah,
them.
yeah,
I will say though, Aja, even though she didn't have the same, well, her and Brianna match usage, so it's not really a thing to be honest. But and then they do have everybody else that they have. Like I'm just looking at the box score, and it's not as like
mm,
strong as it's been where her and Brianna are like 20 pointing. You know what I mean? And like Jackie has 19 today. You know what I mean? KC, I'm just so happy to see KC. Thank you for showing up today, KC. I'm glad you healthy. Um, but yeah, she got 9 points. Sabrina with 6, Kelsey 6. Jewel didn't really play like that,
yeah.
as well.
She is probably
The
the
wild card.
only one I would say this entire tournament who has struggled to kind of find her way.
And we know why. Like I've
Tell
said
them.
it countless times.
I'll
like
say it too. Go ahead, tell them for people who maybe.
Jewel is not the ideal player to put with other prominent players. She needs room to do
Yeah.
what she's going to do for herself, unless she'll have an extended period of time to assimilate with everyone. You know what I mean? The way that she has with Skylar and NECA on her actual team, the Seattle Storm.
Well,
Because during the last years with Brianna and Sue, she wasn't necessarily, the most consistent, the most proficient, efficient, all them shint words, whatever. um, and
okay.
then the next season though, like last year, she was top scorer, very good, like being explosive on the offensive end, doing her thing with Ezzy getting a elevated role and more prominent role and facilitating the team and stepping up on defense and whatnot. And it just seems like when she steps up to more responsibility. Whereas like in this situation, she doesn't have to do that. You know what I mean? She can just play her role, pick her spots, and like I told you, she's gonna be in that left corner. You know what I mean? Like that's her
Yeah.
spot with Team USA. Left corner about 2 or 3 times, and yeah, then she's done.
I mean, again, is she amongst one of the best like 12 players in the WNBA? Probably.
I would say
Probably,
so. Yeah.
probably, right?
Yeah.
But is she the best fit for international basketball? I never have believed she is. And I'm not trying to like bash Joel Lloyd. It's just
Go for it. I'm sorry.
like you said, no, like even in WNBA, which is why like I even went back when I keep kind of bringing up, when we talk about the WNBA, like who really is the MVP of the Seattle Storm? Because I don't believe it's Joel Lloyd. Like I see now we're opening. I just don't think she has not gotten to the level yet where she is proficient playing off ball.
Right.
Like there is ability, like Kelsey.
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect.
Is a good example. Right. Like creating your shot isn't necessarily right. Like dribbling, breaking down the defense and everything. How you move off the ball can create shot opportunities. It can create pockets of space. She's never shown that she can do that. Joel Lloyd, that is.
Right.
And again, on this team where she will not be on ball as much, it's harder for her to like have a consistent role or to find rhythm.
Right.
Which is why like her inclusion, like I get it, you're talented. And maybe, hey, right, like in late game situations, right? If it's a close game, her her isolation built like repertoire will come in handy. But right now, like even like early in the game, you could tell like she also only played like 6 minutes and like she completely looks like out of rhythm. Like she does not look like she's comfortable out there. And again, it's not to knock on her. It's just, you see, right? It's not so easy just bringing in a collection of talent. You know, you kind of have to pick and choose, you know, at least each individual has to kind of pick and choose how they can excel, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Which actually, do you have more thoughts on Jewel? Because I think that's a good
Um,
way to,
what was I gonna add? I was gonna add that maybe she'll be better with the next iteration of Team USA,
see, yeah,
because I don't think that she plays well with a super prominent like big or four, and they have two and a half of them, three if Brittany Griner decides to, or if they decide that when Brittany gets in, kind of they almost kind of did, like they went to her a lot when she first got in, you know what I mean, and she was
yeah,
finishing some play. So when you have a prominent like big like that, that's not like NECA Agwumike, for instance, where NECA is going to sacrifice some of her game at this stage, you know what I mean, and
hmm,
allow for Jewel to like take on more. That's what Jewel is. She's the one that steps up to the occasion. She steps up to the responsibility, and this team just has so much where it's like it's not on her at all. You know what I mean? She's not even
yeah,
starting, so it's just like hell, Aja or Brianna. You know what I mean? And then go from there. And then
yeah,
you have to cycle through, oh well, is like you mentioned, Chelsea Gray going to orchestrate things? Is DT going to, you know, flex her wings a little bit and get some shots off? But I think they have them specifically for leadership, but just this just is an Aja or Brianna team make or break. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it is. Like they literally run this team.
I
And
mean,
that's why they got an orbit of guards around them. And Alyssa Thomas just takes the cake. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
correct.
if all else fails, she can be the one that's kind of on both sides, where she can guard smalls and bigs, kind of play in the post and outside of it, but also prominently facilitate. You know what I mean?
Right.
So she brings it all together, I would say.
I mean, make no mistake. I want to make it clear. I think Cheryl Reeve has pushed the right buttons. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think her lineups and everything have made sense. It's just, like I said, I feel like DT starting, and Chelsea has had some good performances. You know, I
Right.
don't want to make it seem like I'm down. It's just, I think she's kind of picking and choosing, you know, like kind of staggering certain lineups to ensure that like all 12 players can get in, you
I
know, at some
mean,
point, you know. But
I just don't understand starting DT in Chelsea though. Like,
that's the thing. One or the other. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Like, can we have an honest conversation? Has
yeah,
DT done anything particularly well in this Olympic?
this oh,
DT,
in this Olympics. Oh, I thought you was
this
gonna say
Olympics.
this year.
No, this
No.
Olympics. That's
No.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, again, because at the end of the day, so we've been saying, like, it probably won't matter.
Yeah.
It won't matter. And it ends today, right? She only played 6 minutes, right? She basically started the game or started each half, right?
Right.
But I mean, you know, if you want to be super aggressive, put your foot on the gas, then probably, you know, I mean, the men's team is seeing it. I mean, freaking last year's MVP was a DNP an entire game, you know?
Hmm.
Embiid, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's things to consider. It's things to consider. You know, it's a fine balancing act, but what we were talking about, you know, earlier, you know, kind of as we related to Jewel and trying to find her footing on this team, you know,
Yeah.
how players have to kind of figure out how they can excel on this collection of talent. I'm sorry, like, she has not had a single gaudy stat line, but I truly think she's like the silent, like the unspoken star of this team, Nafisa
Yes.
Collier.
Yeah.
She has made every lineup work in ways that I didn't think she could. I've never thought she's a slouch on defense or anything like that. I think
Yeah.
she's a plus defender. I did not realize that she could basically go entire games pretty much having defense her main priority. And she did that. She set the the tone. But yeah, she was basically like a stone,
On
right?
defense. Yeah.
Against Satu Sabali, right?
Hmm.
From the early going, I mean, she was in there like either bodying up, like in the paint, and if not, she was kind of intercepting, kind of like playing the passing lanes. Um, Really impressive. I mean,
Right.
that's what I'm saying. For a star, she is a star. We've
Yeah.
talked about it, but we believe she should be at least in the conversation for WNBA MVP. And she's doing what I think is at times hard for a lot of these players. She's finding a way to be like a super role player, you know?
Yeah.
She's doing it. Because, like, let's be real. Even though we know Alyssa Thomas is like badass, her game is like a super role player in the WNBA, right? Not a super, you know what I'm saying, right? Like a Swiss Army knife, a do it
Right.
all kind of thing. Yeah, let's put it that way,
Yeah.
right? Whereas, Fee is, you're like the number one option, right? And yet the way she is just, especially again coming off injury, how she's made like this seamless transition. I mean, it's incredible, and I had to give her flowers on that. Like,
Exactly.
she has been consistent this entire tournament.
That goes to show just the extent of her as a player. You know what I mean? To be able to go from being real prominent with the Lynx, and then this season kind of, playing a very prominent role with the Lynx, but also still just filling in where she's began to fall down the MVP ladder because she's not having the explosive performances game in and game out. But she has been playing the defense. She has been making an extra pass. She has been making big time shots and allowing for other people to shine. She brought that attitude to this team. You know what I mean? So she's like the perfect star role player, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, outside of like an Alyssa Thomas, like she's just, she's got that in her game too. But yeah, Alyssa and Fee are like glue. But Fee especially, because I was kind of disappointed after the first couple of games. Like, well, is y'all gonna let Fee score a little bit more? You know what I mean? And then it's actually you that brought it to my attention that, well, Fee's doing all of this other stuff. Because if I wasn't looking for her to score in the first couple of games, I wasn't really looking for her. You know what I mean?
Right.
So just seeing what she's doing now, like she is on defense, she is like stepping in front of a lot of their like the other team's players that can do things and like showing up on defense. So I want to give her kudos too. Like she's a star role player for sure. So yeah, I like that observation for sure.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, like I said,
good luck.
Maybe, I guess at most we're nitpicking at times, but I mean, that's not even like, again, it's not even necessarily criticism. It's just like, hey, right. I mean, things to consider, which clearly Cheryl Reeve, I think she's seeing it, it's just, go with the starting lineup she's been using. And I think she's very good, at least with the timeouts. Okay. If she feels like this might get worse, take a timeout, then go to the subs. But I mean, in all three games, I mean, the first game, Chelsea Gray was pretty good. But I mean, for the most part, the backups, like the second unit backcourt players, have kind of got them back on track, So we'll see. We'll see. But I mean, we know that. So, I mean, we just, I think that's, do you have any more observations or?
I was just going to add one more thing about Chelsea and DT.
Yeah, go for it.
I would say looking at their rosters, like the way that their rosters are built on their actual WNBA teams, they need the same players that are getting plugged in off the bench around them. Like Chelsea needs Kelsey and Jackie around her. You know what I mean?
Right.
DT needs Kalia Copper, Sophie Cunningham, whoever's in the game at the time, starting with her. You know what I mean? Because they are facilitators. But if you're playing DT and Chelsea, they're going to facilitate to one another. But their number one thing to do isn't, well, maybe DT a little bit is to shoot a three. But if you're guarding her, you can limit her scoring opportunities. Chelsea's isn't necessarily to score first. You have Aja and Brianna in there with her, and then you put Fee in there with them. Like, so how does it make sense? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it just doesn't make sense across the board. Fee will fit in. Chelsea can find like things going on the floor, but okay, if you only got DT and Fee outside of Aja and Brianna who can create their own shot, they're very prominent at it. So you don't want to just force them to, oh, I'm gonna set this play up. You got to catch it here and just go up. Like, no, you don't force that upon them. You let them create their own shot if they have it. They have the
Right.
capability. So you don't take that away from them. So that's like where we lose some of what Chelsea and DT can do, especially being in the game at the same time together. Now, if you got Sabrina out there or you got Kelsey Plum out there that have a shooting acumen, you got Jackie, who is a improved shooter. You got even Jewel. You know what I mean? Jewel, maybe she could play a little bit better off the ball, but
You know,
she needs an actual facilitator in the game with her outside of all scores. You know what I mean?
right.
So
Right.
I just think, this team is really good. They're probably better than what we've even seen. They just haven't been able, they haven't had the time to be able to maximize on their rotations. You know what I mean? Because especially now, it's like too late. It's too late to say, oh, well, we're going to start Sabrina and, you know what I mean? Like Kelsey Plum or something like that. Like, well, what if
I don't
one of,
think it is.
I mean, not with Aja and Brianna in there, and then especially with them having slow starts and then adjusting because they adjust so well on the fly. Like it's like, oh, they're playing physical. All right, we got physical. Oh, they're
I
doing
mean,
what? We got them. It's like Cheryl Reeves is like, yeah, whatever, I got y'all.
I don't know. I mean, if Shirley really wanted to, I think she could trim this rotation down.
But okay, so we'll
This
keep
could be a
Fee.
9. This could be a 9-woman rotation, in my opinion.
Okay, so I just want to know about the start. Well, I'll let you do the whole rotation, but
Oh no,
starting
no.
Fee, Aja, Brianna, what's the other two you will put in outside of
If it was
DT and
my
Chelsea?
preference,
Yeah,
Sabrina and Jackie.
nice. Okay, and who's
Yeah,
the de facto point guard in this one? Sabrina,
Sabrina.
even
But the
though
fact is, I
she's
think you feel comfortable. Don't you feel comfortable with Jackie
yes,
running point two? That's my point.
yeah. I would rather let Sabrina. Plus, she's had
Exactly.
Vandersloot on her team, so she
Yeah.
understands a better. I mean, both of them do. They both had it where
See,
they play off the ball too. So
I think you bring up a good point, actually, in terms of little X's and O's. And again, I don't want this to come off as like a
no,
DT
no,
bashing session, but it's
it's
just
not.
like it's something you see with a lot of like older players, right?
Mhm.
Like DT to me is experiencing what Clay Thompson is experiencing,
Uh-oh.
and I always like to relate this as like for example, a star wide receiver.
Mm,
As you get older, wide receiver, as a wide receiver gets older, it's not like they forget how to catch a ball. No, right? But it's their ability to create separation. And as you get older, it becomes increasingly more difficult, right? And therefore that changes, right? Your catching radius, your windows of opportunity.
right,
To me, that's the same thing for an off-ball shooter, a movement shooter,
right,
like Clay, like DT. And so what you're saying is now, in order for her to actually get the looks that they want her to get,
mhm,
now you're actually pulling your bigs out, right? Like you need more like staggered screens, right? It can't just be Fee setting a single screen, or it can't just be, right, like DT, burning somebody laterally,
right,
and flaring out. They actually do need to make a more concerted effort. And because of that, it's like you're saying, right? The bigs are no longer in position to get any advantageous scoring opportunities. Because
right,
even by the time DT gets the ball, now if they've already like closed out on her. Now she has to like dribble, right? And now you're just driving into congestion.
right. That's true.
That's why
Yeah,
Kelsey and Sabrina currently do not have those problems. Jackie does not have that problem, right? Which is why I'm saying, right? Like, if you really wanted to be like super efficient from the get-go, from opening tip, then maybe, yeah, you whittle down this rotation, but
well, we'll see. I mean, because the way I'm seeing it, I would like to see this team against France. I would like to see this team against Nigeria. Who? Congratulations to Nigeria, just to shout them out. I have to
first
Yeah.
African nation, I believe, men's or women's team to advance to the knockout rounds of
Yeah.
the Olympic basketball tournament. So that's really cool.
Yes.
That's really
Yes.
cool. I mean, I guess we don't really need to do an in-depth preview yet because France and Australia still play later this afternoon,
Hmm.
and that could technically determine the final seeding. I mean, for the most part, the U.S. is for sure the number one seed,
Right.
right? But I think technically there's, it can determine who the 8th seed would be, and
Right.
that would be the opponent or the US's opponent in the first round. But um, Nigeria, man,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, obviously we just gave them a round of applause,
Hmm.
but again, what we were saying, right? Just each nation finding like just creative ways
Hmm.
to compete. They'll be an interesting out. It's just
Yeah.
because they're the younger team, I don't think they're gonna be. I mean, they've won 2 games,
Yeah.
so it's not even
Against
like
two of the top
I don't.
five.
Yeah, like we can't even play them in the first round or in the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah.
But shout out to again, I gave her a shout out last time, but Promise Mukamara,
Yeah.
she has been just a rock. And then forgive me if I say her name incorrectly, but Isn't Kalu? I mean, she was a killer out there this
I'm just
morning.
happy.
What
I'm
I'm saying?
happy
Like,
about it, man.
yeah,
Like
no,
I'm.
she was she made sure that Nigeria did not lose that game. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see. Do you have any thoughts about them moving forward?
Not
Or
not
any of the other
not
teams?
well, any team. I need to. I want to see us somehow. I don't want us to lose, but I would like to see us against France. You know what I mean? Like I want to see. I want a competitive game, and that's why I wanted Germany to take us to the brink. That's why I was saying last pod, like 1 point game, 1 point Team USA win. Like I want to see us like in a game that's going to bring out everything. You know what I mean? As opposed to, oh, we're playing to this pocket of strength this game, we're playing to this pocket, then the next game we're playing to that pocket. Like I want to see the whole thing get on display. You know what I mean? I want to see somebody
Yeah.
truly challenge us. It probably won't happen, but I would like to see France versus Team USA. You know what I mean? Like I because it's each team has given me exposure that Team USA have played to other players that I would like to see potentially even make the WNBA. You know what I mean? Or that I would like to follow going forward from here. So
Right.
it's other than the ones that I've known, the Lauren Jacksons, the Emma Meesmans, the Maureen Johans, Gabby Williams, my girls, the Sabali sisters, Leona Febich, like all the names across the WNBA that are already been a part of it or are in it
Right.
now. Like I want some new ones. You know what I mean? So I want to see France and outside of Gabby, outside of Marine, I want to see what else they would have, how they would match up, what they would come up with. Like we've been saying, a lot of teams have been
Yeah.
real creative. And then I would also like to see Nigeria, like I said last time. Like I would like to see Nigeria versus the US just to see how they match up, how they stack up against us and what they come up with. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, that'll put them on the map. I think. Like not just I would say, like I said it last time too. Like Nigeria, to give them a spotlight, to give them the ability to kind of grow in the eyes of pretty much the just casual basketball watcher. You know what I mean? Like Nigeria's
I
in here
mean,
now. The first
they
time.
their use of double isolation sets have been really cool.
Yeah.
I know, right? Wow, analysis. No,
No,
I
that's
mean
good.
because right, it's in contrast, and it's not like oh my god, like they're incapable of passing. But again, they're playing to their strengths. They're trying to use positional size, positional mismatches,
Yeah.
right? To try to wall off, right? To try to cut the court in their favor, you
Mm.
know. And so because no, like they don't record a lot of assists as a team, but it's not like they're selfish or pounding the rock, you
Right.
know. It's just yeah. So it'll be really interesting given that we've seen so many of these other nations, right, try to stay competitive with the US by, a lot of extra ball movement, right? To try to
Hmm.
like get US like kind of,
Off
off
balance.
balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I'm reading this correctly, and I could be totally wrong,
Yeah.
but I think for sure, the teams that have been eliminated are Puerto Rico, Canada, and Japan.
Okay.
And because of point differential, I think the US would probably draw one of Belgium, Australia, or China
Ooh.
in the first round.
Ooh.
I don't think it's guaranteed yet, but I think those are all the other teams waiting on, for seeing who will get the 7th and 8th seed based on tiebreakers.
Let's go China.
So
I want to see
yeah,
China too.
yeah,
Against
China had a
US.
big
I would love
win.
that.
They had a big win
Because
today.
they're big. You know what I mean?
Literally. And that's
They're
what we're
big.
talking about, right?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting because then it would actually be an opportunity to put a little bit more spotlight on Team USA's guards and wings, because I'm with it. Like, dude, you have Asia Wilson and Breonna Stewart are not just two of the best bigs in the world. They're arguably the two best players in the world.
Yeah.
So hell yeah, feed them.
Yeah.
Feed them in the paint. All right. Of course. But you're right. China, I mean, this is what we're talking about, right? You actually have the opportunity to put up some resistance, in the post. It'd be interesting.
It's crazy how we're sitting up here. That just lets you know what kind of men we are. Like we're sitting up here breaking down what's going to challenge our team. You know what I mean? Like, let's just blow them out. Let's just, oh yeah, it's trash. Like, no, I want to see a game.
Our recap really could have been
somebody like.
Our recap and preview really could have lasted like 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, it could have. But we got to dissecting and just looking. At least that's what I've been doing. Like, I want to see different things in us have to use our whole arsenal. Like, I want to see the challenge. I want to see, can we overcome it? Can we then get Jewel to be like, hey, guess what we need you to do? We need you to beat Jewel. Go. Jewel, 12 points in 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see that. But I have nothing more. I mean, we'll see. We don't have the final estimation yet. So it's just between those 3 teams. So
it's looking like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Just one final thought before we go, and we'll let everybody enjoy their Sunday. Thank you everyone who tuned in. But since we kind of made the preview episode focused on one player and she's not on Team USA, it's worth reiterating. I feel like Satu Sabali is back, right? Like she, and after this tournament's over, the WNBA season resumes. I don't know what's in her plans for this season, but I mean, Dallas could be a whole lot different with her on the team, And again, like we said, right? I mean, your FIBA role and your WNBA role may not be the same, but hey, it may give you some things or may give Dallas some things to consider moving forward. Because I know Germany took the L today, but like she still played really well,
Yeah, she did, for what it's worth, especially with who was guarding her. Like, every team is not going to have Alyssa Fee and then Alyssa Thomas to guard her. You know what I mean? Like, Alyssa Thomas not coming off the bench.
So we'll see. I hope whether it's this season. I mean, I'd love it for her to return this season, but if not, hopefully next season, and a plethora of talent up and down the league.
It is.
So,
all righty.
All right.
With that being said, make sure y'all follow us at EMW_pod on Twitter. You see our names at the bottom. At CP3_777 at Twitter on Twitter. At opinionated_MJ on Twitter. Follow us. I know it's long-winded, whatever, but subscribe and like all the YouTube videos. Follow us at East Meets West, a basketball state of being on YouTube. You know what I mean? When you find it, just share it with your friends so they don't have to type all that in. I know people, you ain't gonna be able to just keep hitting and see what word comes up, and it comes up like my phone does. But also be on the lookout. We might try some other platforms. We're thinking about playback right now, TV. We've had the channel for a while, actually. It's just been sitting dormant, but WNBA, get Olympics, get some of that stuff on playback. But we'll be on there. We'll get around that regardless. And we might hit the Twitter spaces. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. But y'all enjoy
Yes.
y'all Sunday, like Khan said, and y'all have a good one out there. Be safe,
All right.
stay prayed up, and yeah.
Go
Oh,
USA.
and go USA easily.
All right.
All right, y'all.
Take care.